a VoyMonk vlog. This is a a vlog for Friday. I was before I hit the record button, wanted to talk about the fact that I don't do drugs, at least not the ones that aren't prescribed. I mean, I'm talking about recreationally. No, I never really liked drugs. Never got high. I never smoked pot. I'm a very, very boring person. Now, keep in mind, I don't say those types of things because I'm perfect or I'm better than anyone. I'm not. I definitely have my own problems, a lot of my own problems, both genetically, just because, in life, the choices I make. I'm morbidly obese, not just fat. It's something that I work on. It's something that I don't want. It's something that I seek to change. But everyone's got their mountain to climb. I guess if drugs can be someone else's, then that is what that is. My point is that I didn't mean to preface that I don't do drugs as meaning that I'm better or exceptional or above anyone else. I just never liked the idea of changing my brain in some way, even if it's temporarily, so that somehow I'm at least not in control of what very, 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 very little that I am, which is my awareness, But, I see people who do drugs, who have done drugs, who do drugs maybe recreationally. And I've often wondered some of the benefits of doing so. Some of the greatest comedians, artists, and whatnot did have a drug addiction, or usually recreationally did something, as whether it's marijuana as far as being a writer or someone who's, produces music or whatever. I've never been one to be ultra critical about it either. And keep in mind, when I say drugs, I include alcohol as being a drug as well. In fact, I'm almost not even entirely sure that in reality it's really any different than poison, or drugs in general aren't kind of a poison. I mean, I know some people suggest or say that, marijuana, for example, it's natural. It's a plant that's a herb or whatever. And it's just like, lots of things are natural. Hemlock is natural. Poison ivy is natural. I think sometimes natural can be something that's overused as a buzzword, just like organic or non-GMO or something like that. And I guess it's not to be a criticism of what anybody and everybody. People have the right to make whatever choices that they make. It's just, I don't know. Me, having lived my life not making certain choices, of course, I think it's not too uncommon to look at the other side of the street or the grass on the other side of the fence and, wonder if it's greener or softer or what that might be like. I'm not saying I plan to become a drug addict or start doing recreational drugs. Like I said, including alcohol or whatever, but for whatever reason, it's just never taken me. I think there's often are also, perceptions of what certain kinds of drugs or whatever can do, especially whether it's for medicinal purposes or therapy. I guess some people use them for those types of whatever. And I think that's fine, but I don't know. Like I said, I battle my own demons, which consequently, like I said, my father drank like a fish. He was an alcoholic, and that was something that he did. I mean, for me, looking back, in a mind-numbingly unusual in way that I didn't at the time really appreciate for just how crazy it was and the experiences that I had as a result. And so I would guess or suggest that although my drug isn't alcohol or pot or a lot of the more popular recreational drugs, I definitely overeat, chemicals, things of that nature. Like I said, I'm not one of those people that's on some organic GMO kick, but I don't think that at the same time it is unreasonable or not logical to look at the food that is often consumed. Processed meats and, systems for which food is prepared and that kind of thing. And I often find myself, seeing what is out there. And especially with all the gimmicks, I think that there is to try, or the claims that are made that are usually not substantiated by anything other than someone who wants to make money. I would often say that, it's difficult, especially if you want to make the change or decide to make change. And I don't know if maybe what I'm describing as far as with overeating, being obese and all that stuff, which is not, it's not a clear line from one to the other. There's emotional, there's mental components to the whole thing as well. But, it is my cross to bear, so to speak. And so when I think of drugs, when I think of just about any problem that people obviously try to do something about, there's always barriers and things that, can oftentimes go wrong. I think for me, like I said, it's as far as eating healthier, one of my resolutions this year was to learn to cook, to get healthier, to eat better. Because right now that's my primary focus as far as losing weight and getting healthier for myself. But I can say that it's a thing that, if you didn't have one thing, you might have another. And I think so much of also what I've spent time as far as speaking about on this channel in terms of since the beginning of the year, as far as also, taking time and being in the moment, I find that that's been a big part of it in terms of, as far as maybe whatever vices that, a person can have that eventually does what it does. I think eating can be as much of a coping mechanism as sex or drugs or a lot of different things. And hopefully that's going to be okay with me to bringing that up. I'm not going to delve into any specifics as far as anything adult in that respect or, controversial. But yeah, I do think that it's difficult, no matter who you are or what you do, because even if you live the perfect life, I think it's easy to still find that there are details that go beyond maybe what seems simple as far as who people are and why they are, or what people do and what reasons and motives that lay behind it. And so aside from my rambling, it feels, or, the general consensus that I make is that when it comes to drugs, that kind of thing, I've always veered away. But on the other hand, I still have my vices and weaknesses and things like that. And so I think part of the thing that also helps me not to be judgmental, and of course, I don't talk about this much, and I don't make a big deal, but I definitely have faith. I definitely have a feeling and a sense about those types of things as far as, treating other people and the way I'd like to be treated. I don't think that those are necessarily always linked in separate but equal or equal measured type of thing. I think for the most part, a person, speaking myself, my experience, I have to be comfortable with what I want to do and where I want to be. And so for me, not doing drugs or, smoking marijuana, that definitely goes against that sense, that feeling that, I'm completely out of my mind, or maybe I've let go, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's just simply a matter of, well, I'm critical of people who do something that I don't. Far, far from it. But yeah, I definitely look at the situations as far as life is concerned, and I wonder about, the roads that I didn't travel. And not to the degree that, I wish or I mean for a different life. I would say, if anything, it comes to the opposite. I find my way coming back to that not all things for all people, and not all answers are going to be answered for all people either. Every lock, there's a key, but not every key is going to fit or move every lock. It's not meant to be a cliche or anything like that, but it's just something that I find in my life. And so sometimes when it comes to, I think some people call it dumping in terms of, sometimes when people do channels or vlogs or blogs or whatever, many times they might be about more of a personal type of a journey that a person is sharing, and then, looking to be shared, which I think is great. I don't have anything for or against it. It's just, it isn't what I do. But I think in this vlog, if I can at least display or show that there's a way to kind of talk about things and still enjoy them without being something that's dumping, then that's definitely something that I want to do. I will say that one of the things that I would say, dislike about drugs specifically, whether it's marijuana or drinking or whatever, is ultimately we know that it chemically does something to you, whether it's directly to your brain or just your system as a whole. And what I'm about to lean into here primarily is that I think one of the things that I notice is that obviously it's probably a cliche stereotype about, people who, may do the devil's lettuce or whatever, sit around and pontificate and think about the greater existential issues while relaxing and musing ideas that sometimes they find new or revealing or something like that. And here's the thing is, I don't think you have to, do drugs in order to do that. I think that there's, just as I mentioned, that there are other vices that are just, like I said, as much of a problem. Like I said eating is one of them. But I think there are also other things that can do it as well. I mean, believe it or not, doing a vlog or making any kind of content, wherever you make it, and the vastness of social media, websites and that kind of things and communities, is that I think a thing that can happen is that, well, some people never really experience most of it, but if anyone has any kind of monicum or general success, that usually comes from having something or being interesting or whatever. I think one of the things that can happen is that can, not I want to say necessarily change a person, like drugs or alcohol, but I think it has the sense of being able to reveal things about a person or a situation. Even if in starting out the intentions are one thing, I think they can oftentimes drastically change to become another. And basically the place that I want to kind of get at is that it's this. Whether it be drugs, whether it be this or that, this isn't a place, like I said, I preach or teach or tell people what to do. I'm not here or interested in selling people things that they don't need or want to buy. And like I said, when I say that, I also mean in terms of I'm not here to give advice on the world or what you should do or people should do or anything like that. And delving into that, for a reason is that it doesn't mean that the things that I say on here might not be valid and true. Many of them may not be true, but they may only be true in parts or whatever. One thing I want to make very clear is that this isn't a part of me pontificating to the world or thinking that I have some exceptional insight or knowledge for any other reason, because I think a thing that can happen, especially with pride and ego, is that it can be a copium and I think a bit of a drug in a different way, whether it's successful or not. And I'm speaking for myself. And I talked about the pitfalls that I see and how I experience it. And that's why anytime I'm speaking the way that I am now, I definitely generally come right around to making it clear that I am talking about myself and that I am absolutely not regarding any opinion or thing that I might mention or talk about as it applies to anyone or anything else. I will say that part of the reason that I emphasize that so much is because I think any and every place else it's emphasized so little. And that's, even the point where, sometimes, because I think in the climate that we're in, people seek knowledge, people seek leaders, people seek a lot of different things, and there's ways to fill the void for anything that you want or anything that people think that they need. The problem is that many times it's not. I was talking about GMOs and organic or whatever, and I'm fine for anyone who believes anything and everything that they want to believe. That being said, I don't want to preach, and I definitely don't want anyone preaching to me or telling me what I can or cannot do, especially if it's unsolicited advice. 9 times out of 10, it can be a real crapshoot. That's why I don't encourage, nor do I want this to be that kind of place where I'm telling people what to do, or this is a place about expectations of any sort, really, other than just to enjoy, have fun, to experience what it is to have life and share that with others. And this to be a place that isn't like anywhere else that's on the internet. This channel is not like any other channel. I know it's not, because I'm going to sell people something that, it's going to change their life or do something else. What I want you to do is to be knee deep in it. I want you to experience as good or bad or whatever. If you enjoy it, you find it boring, it's an experience and something that you go through. All I can say is that what I can tell you is that I will always make the best effort to improve the content that I make and engage with those that do ultimately find interest, because that's what I find interesting. And like I said, the end result of that is exactly what I just said. Building a community, building a sense, building something that isn't at the end of the day about something that's at the end of the day, meaning requiring a currency for you to spend and for me to sell you anything, whether it's for your time, your mind, or your money. This is just here. So I don't know, maybe if you're just looking to decompress, or maybe this is just a place that you can talk about things without judgments and expectations or needing to find a place to fill for someone else. And I can honestly say that because as I've spoken about, because I'm 46 years old and I've been around a long time. And one thing I will say that I find a lot missing with all the different options and ways to do things now is that primarily it doesn't seem like there's really any other place to go where people can do the one thing that I'm trying to establish here, which is a place where people can go to be themselves, to have fun, to share their passions about life in itself, and not have any expectations or engage in the things that feel as though they're forced rather than just natural. And being able to, if all it is just a way to decompress and to be reminded that you're human, that we're just human beings, we're just living our lives and doing the thing that we want or need to do, and not having an overall expectation. That's what this VoyMonk channel is about. Not some spirituality, not some meditation. Like I said, with me speaking and doing my vlogs, they're not about me professing or presenting myself as knowing better than anybody about anything. I can come up with great ideas. I think I have great, wonderful ideas. I think my ideas and what I'm thinking matter, and that's why I do the channel the way that I do. I do my vlogs and put together content. But I'm just one man with all my flaws, warts, and all. And hopefully I'm not alone. So, yeah. I like I said, we all come from a lot of different backgrounds. And that's okay. We all have different perspectives. And that's okay, too. But the ideas as far as in terms of expectations or what, it's like sometimes for me, at least in my experience, the best experiences that I've had, the most that I've ever learned is when I'm truly engaging in a sincere, genuine way and kind of letting that process naturally happen. I was speaking about drugs and that sort of thing, and trust me, there's been times I've thought, I've thought about, what if there is something about expanding my mind or doing this or that kind of thing. And it's just, the truth is that I think in anything that at least I do, that there's a cost, just as I mentioned about this channel or anything else, is, whether it's your time, your mind, or your money. If I did drugs, recreational drugs, there's just going to be a cost to that. Just as there's a cost to me overeating, there's a cost to me doing anything. The question is that whether or not those are ultimately decisions that I truly want to make, and they're the decisions that I'm making that are ultimately about me being or getting where I want or I need to get. Just like I've mentioned about success, I don't think if you really ask me what I thought success was when I started out in life at early age in my teens and my 20s and now, that it wouldn't be drastically different. But with experience comes certain understandings and realizations that, the things that I thought that I wanted, I didn't necessarily, I maybe shouldn't have really had. And and I think often too, what people think about is regret, right? If I had gone the road that was less traveled. And the truth of the matter is that no matter where it is that I eventually wound up, whether I did drugs or I didn't, whether I overate or whatever, they were decisions that, for me, I come to understand and deal with and do something about to the best of my ability. And I know that that's not ultimately greatly inspiring or anything like that, but I do feel that doing this channel is the road less traveled. And, maybe success and life and in other places can be different than what we've come to be known to expect, what we've maybe been led to believe. I've been led to believe, primarily, like I said, because I'm talking about myself, but, I share that feeling and emotion with you and ask, what about you? Where are you at? And how do you feel? And, what's your journey? I'm truly interested. And like I said, there is no expectations. And so the only things that I look for are many of the things that I do myself, and that is to be as authentic as possible. So anyways, that's getting closer to the 30-minute mark. And when I started this vlog on this Friday, it's a Friday vlog, I wasn't anticipating where I would go or how I would get here, but that is part of my process. Like I said, it's not supposed to be some undercover genius, man. It's just me. And as far as what I say out to the world, is who are you? Anyways, I think that's going to do it right now for this Friday vlog. I'll have some more coming next week, and, maybe talk a little bit more about how the progress as far as some of the production that I have for the channel, but not too much. Like I said, I'm enjoying this channel, and I hope you do too, and you know what to do as far as subscribing and all that other stuff. So until next time, take care.